Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for the Atlanta Falcons at the Tennessee Titans in their Week 7 matchup played October 25th, 2015. We're going to go over the scores, and we're also going to go over the fourth quarter, and we're going to go over the stats, and we're going to give our breakdown and analysis for this game. So starting off, it was scoreless throughout the first quarter, and then in the second quarter, with a little less than 9 minutes left before halftime, Zach Mettenberger hit Kendall Wright for a 19-yard touchdown. Suckup added the extra point, and it was 7-0 Tennessee over Atlanta. Of course, Mettenberger getting the start with injured Mariota on the bench. So then, with about 2.5 minutes left before halftime, Matt Bryant put the Falcons' first points on the board with a 27-yard field goal, and it was a 4-point game with the score Tennessee 7, Atlanta 3. So that was the score at halftime. Then in the third quarter, with about 6 minutes left in the third, Matt Ryan hooks up with Julio Jones, and Julio Jones makes his way into the end zone for the 8-yard touchdown. Bryant added the extra point, and it was 10-7. With the Falcons in the lead by 3. So the Falcons take the lead for the first time in the game right there. Now in the fourth quarter, let's fast forward to the fourth quarter. There was no more scores in the game. We'll break down how the rest of the game went. The Falcons would drive down the field about midway through the fourth. They actually got the ball with about 11.5 minutes in the fourth. They go all the way down to the Tennessee 1-yard line with about 6.5 left to play. And on 4th and goal, they go for it from the 1. And Matt Ryan intercepted in the end zone. It was almost a touchdown. Williamson just took the ball out of Tammy's hands. If he hadn't been there, it would have been a touchdown. But instead, it was an interception and it was a touchback. And now Tennessee had the ball down by 3 with 6.5 left. And they would get the ball out to the 37, but an incomplete pass would turn the ball over on downs. And so the Falcons already in field goal range, and they would end up going for a field goal from the Tennessee 29, a 47-yard attempt, but it was wide right. So they had a chance to extend their lead, but instead it remained a 3-point game, and Tennessee would get the ball back with about 2.5 left still in the fourth. And they would bring the ball into Atlanta territory. But then on 2nd and 5 from the Atlanta 42, Mettenberger was intercepted by Therizi. And that one would seal it as the Falcons got the ball back. They ran the clock out as there was only about 1.5 minutes left. And they hold on to win this one as they bounce back from the loss last week to get back in the win column. They're now 6-1 on the season, 3-1 on the road. The Titans fall to 1-5 on the year. They have not won a game in Tennessee. They're 0-4 there in Tennessee. So the Falcons win in a low-scoring defensive battle, and it was just that. It was all defense in this game. Not many points on the board. Tennessee was getting after Matt Ryan. He did have a pair of picks, both quarterbacks with 2 interceptions in this game, as the defenses were both playing exceptionally well. And of course, Tennessee, without their quarterback, they also had a couple injuries in their secondary. But Freeman coming up big on the ground, 116 rushing yards, as he's over the 100-yard total for the third straight week for the Falcons. And in this game, though, Matt Ryan, 22 for 38, 251 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Zach Mettenberger, 22 for 35, 187 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Instead, Freeman, 25 carries for 116 yards. Not 25 yards, 25 carries, 116 yards. For Freeman on the ground. He also had 2 receptions for 14 receiving yards, which gave him a total of 130 yards in the game. Andrews had 10 carries for 57 yards to be Tennessee's leading rusher in this game. And the leading receiver was Julio Jones with 9 receptions for 92 yards. And he also had that touchdown reception, the only offensive touchdown in this game for the Falcons. And there's only 2 touchdowns in the game overall. Of course, the other one was Kendall Wright for Tennessee, who had 4 receptions for 46 yards. With Tennessee, though, their leading receiver was their tight end, Delaney Walker, who had 7 receptions for 55 yards. And the running back, Dexter McCluster, had 6 receptions for 48 yards for Tennessee. And for Atlanta, Roddy White, 3 receptions for 48 yards. And Williams had 3 receptions for 43 yards as well. And then we look at the kickers. Suckup, 1 for 1 on the extra point. Bryant, 1 for 2 on the field goals, 1 for 1 on the extra point. He did have that missed field goal there in the fourth quarter. And on defense, Williamson and Bass each had interceptions for Tennessee. And for Atlanta, it was Worrellow and Therizi. And of course, Therizi came up with that big interception on the final possession of the Titans to give the Falcons the ball back, as they would get it back with just a minute and a half and run the clock out. And O'Brien Schofield had a sack for Atlanta, as he was getting at Mettenberger in this game, as he was under pressure. So the Falcons' defense was playing pretty good. So was Tennessee's defense, for that matter, as well. We look at the first downs, 21 first downs for Atlanta, 15 first downs for Tennessee. We look at third downs, 5 for 14 for the Falcons, 35% conversion rate. And for the Titans, just 1 for 9, only 11% of their third downs converted. And if you can only get 1 third down conversion, you're probably not going to win. And on fourth down, both teams failed to convert. The Falcons going for it twice, and the Titans went for it once on fourth down, both 0% on fourth down. Total net yards, 378 for the Falcons, 256 for the Titans. Net rushing, 127 for Atlanta, 77 for Tennessee. Net passing, 251 for the Falcons. Ryan was not sacked at all. And for the Titans, 179 netted through the air, as Mettenberg was sacked once for an 8-yard loss. And we look at the penalties. 6 penalties against the Falcons for 53 yards. 5 penalties against the Titans for 45 yards. Each team fumbled once but did not lose. They were able to recover their own fumbles. And then we look at the red zone. 1 for 3 for Atlanta, as they were 33% in the red zone. 1 for 2 for Tennessee, as they were 50% in the red zone. And the Falcons won the time of possession battle, 34 minutes and 45 seconds, and 25 minutes and 15 seconds for Tennessee. And of course, with the red zone, you had that red zone interception, and that was late in the game too. But despite the turnovers and mistakes, the defense of Atlanta was able to shut the door on the possible comeback attempt by the Titans there at the end, and they hang on to win this one. And it's a big win for the Falcons to get back in the win column after having lost their first game of the year last week. Although against the Titans, who only won 1 game all year, still to get a road victory is always a big thing. It's not easy either, going on the road, playing a team outside when you're used to playing in the Dome there in Georgia. But the Falcons get the win in this low-scoring slugfest. It was a defensive battle, but they get the win, and they come out on top, and they're now 6-1. Of course, Freeman continues to be an amazing asset to the Falcons. He's really had a breakout year in 2015, leading the league in rushing, and he continues to do it. And he finds a way, and he's not letting up anytime soon from what it looks like. Of course, Tevin Coleman, the rookie, he had a couple of carries, but just 3 carries for 14 yards was really all about Devonta Freeman. Of course, Julio Jones getting back in the end zone. So he'd started off, with the 4 touchdowns in the first few games, and then hadn't had a touchdown the last couple, but here he gets his 5th touchdown of the season. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend, and enjoy all the sports.